I mean, I really don't know. You know, so.
If you don't, then no one does.
That's the thing, and it's like the In the Air Tonight story. I get so many people telling me that what they think it's about, and I say, I can assure you, it's not. Whatever you're about to tell me, it's not about that, because I don't know what it's about. You know, so hear it from the horse's mouth.
All right, now at 89 you released a solo record, but seriously, #1 hit, Another Day in Paradise. That won the Grammy Awards Record of the Year. The song dealt with homelessness, I guess.
Yeah,
okay, that one's right?
That one's right, yeah.
The album dealt with apartheid and other politically driven material. What made you go there?
Well, you know, I just was becoming known as this cheeky chappy that kind of, you know, would do anything. Know what I mean, eh? And I just felt there were some things out there that I wanted to sort of deal with. And that was, you realised that you could actually you could do something. You could embarrass people into doing something, like governments could do something if you actually wrote a song and showed that people were actually angry about this. You know?
Right.
So, but seriously, was about the homeless, and I didn't really intend to champion the cause, but they heard the record because it was released as a single, and not my choice either. But it was released as a single, and all the coalitions, they all wanted to use it for their meetings and. Could we help? And so we ended up having all the coalitions in different towns that we were working in. We had 2 or 3 shelters come in and collect money, and I'd say, don't buy the T-shirt, you know, in the interval, go and put some money in the bucket so they can feed the homeless, you know. So we tried to, you know, live up to our end of the bargain. But and the other thing was the colours about South Africa, which was just because this was pre-Nelson Mandela being freed.
All right, now, 1991, you record We Can't Dance. That was your final studio album with Genesis.
Yeah.
Sum up your Genesis experience. Did you love it? You look back on it fondly?
Oh, I loved it, yeah. I mean, Mike and Tony and I, and Peter as well, we see less of Steve, but we're all the greatest of friends. We don't stop laughing till you know, we're always finding something funny, but we're great people to have around each other.
So you still call each other?
Yeah. We just don't work in the same office anymore, basically.
More with Phil Collins when we return on Centerstage. This is Centerstage, and our guest is singer, songwriter, musician, actor, Phil Collins. Now, you always stay busy, as you said. You played with Led Zeppelin, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, Curtis Mayfield, Paul McCartney, Ozzy Osbourne on their records. You toured with Clapton and Robert Plant. Are you intimidated? Do you look at any of them and go, the talent is just amazing, I'm just in awe of being here? Or do you just look at them and go, okay, it's going to be cool to gig with them?
Well, most of the time I've got to know them before.
Right. Anybody that you'd want to play with that you haven't?
Well, there was Joe Zawinul, who a lot of people wouldn't know, but he was the head of Weather Report, a jazz musician, played with Miles Davis, and I got to meet him, and he wanted to play with me, and I wanted to play with him, and I just bottled out because I didn't think I was good enough. But no, I mean, I'm McCartney. I played on McCartney's album. There's been so much I've been lucky enough to do. You know, it's this question of the reason I did it is when they've asked is that I thought, well, they may not ring again. You know, how do you say no to someone? Eric Clapton, we were country neighbours. You know, I spent a lot of time with him.
You were a performer at the Prince's Trust charity event, Queen Elizabeth II's Golden Jubilee. Is that like hoity-toity?
No, I mean, you've got some of the people that work for her.
But do you have to be all proper when you do stuff like that?
There are rules and regulations, you know. In fact, I was Prince Charles's surprise guest at his 40th birthday.
Cool guy or stuffy?
Oh, he's fantastic.
Really?
He's a lovely man. Really is a lovely man. The English press make him out to be a sort of eccentric. But he is a real good person, and it would be great if he gets a chance to be king, but who knows if that's going to happen. Anyway, that night was pretty fantastic. Because I was supposed to be kept as a secret guest, I couldn't meet anybody. So I didn't meet the Queen Mother, for example, which would have been nice, because she was an extraordinary lady. But but you're not supposed to go up to the Queen unless she comes up to you. Well, I've had a couple of drinks by this point. So I go up and tap her on the shoulder and say, I say, Your Highness, and that's wrong because it's Your Majesty.
Okay.
Your Highness, I just wanted to say hello. And she turned around and she said, "Ah, yes, you're my son's entertainment." And I didn't have anything to say. I just wanted to say hello, really. That was all. And later that night, our road crew, my road crew, that was because everybody was there. You know, they were sitting down for the breakfast. 1 o'clock in the morning, they have breakfast before the carriages come. You know, in the old days. And sitting at the table, and there's a spare seat. And who should come down and say, "Is this seat taken?" But the Queen. So she had breakfast with the roadies. So she's a regular girl too.
Regular girl.
Regular girl.
Phil.
Regular girl.
She ain't hanging out.
They're very nice. They're very nice people, actually.
All right, 99, You'll Be in My Heart, the song you wrote for Tarzan. You win the Oscar. Was it everything you thought it would be?
Oh yeah.
Where is that? Where is?
Actually, it's in New York.
Do you show it off? Anybody comes into the apartment?
No. Well, no one comes to my apartment.
I'd have it on the front of my car. See this?
No, that was something that I just figured would never ever happen.
Right.
But because of Disney, and they brought me in, gave me lots of opportunities to write music for their films and the show, and it struck gold, and I constantly in their debt really for that. But I was very, very proud of the Oscar. Yeah.
Now in 2000, you performed "You'll Be in My Heart" from Tarzan at the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Now you're from England, but you
Yes.
spend a lot of time in the States. Did that mean something to you? Was that as amazing a thing as people make it out to be? All those people watching.
Well, you know, it's amazing because you know there's all those people watching. I mean, it does surprise me a little bit that the game is so subservient to the event. You know, it's like, I mean, having, you know, holding up play for commercials and things.
Right. They don't do that in soccer.
They don't do that in soccer. I mean, sometimes now, because television does has an awful lot of money involved in soccer, they wait till they start the game, and they wait till the half time before they show commercials. And they won't start the second half until they get a green light saying that commercial is finished. But they never would stop in the middle. So that was kind of surprising.
Well, he likes events. He's going to get one. Hit and Run is next on Center Stage. This is Center Stage, and we're here with legendary musician Phil Collins. Phil, now it gets tough. Hit and run. Okay, I'm going to tell you something. First thing that comes to your mind.
All right.
All right, here we go. Last night, were you listening to rock or jazz?
Rock.
First record you ever bought?
It Only Took a Minute by Joe Brown.
Who are some of your favorite new
Should have
artists?
said, have you ever been divorced? I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this, new artist. I still think the Police is a new band. You know, things are slower when I grew up.
Favorite city on tour?
Paris.
What would you consider the definitive Genesis song?
I suppose the Supper's Ready would be what most fans would consider the definitive song. So I'll probably go along with that.
Most memorable performance in your career?
As far as I'm concerned, it was with my big band and Tony Bennett singing and Quincy Jones conducting.
Where was that?
Well, we did a little tour in '96 of the jazz festivals.
Tony Bennett cool?
Tony Bennett's very, very cool, yeah. Very, very cool.
Most treasured award?
Well, I think it has to be the Oscar, actually. I mean, it has to
Best advice anyone ever gave you, and what was it?
Always let go of the lady's leg. No, I can't come up with something better than that anyway.
Pretty good advice. All right, what makes London and New York similar and different?
The energy makes them similar.
Mm-hmm. Anything different?
Different, well, yeah. I mean, history.
All right, favorite drummer ever?
I will say, I probably would have to say Buddy Rich, you know, because he did things that nobody else can still do.
Was Ringo a good drummer?
Ringo is a great drummer.
Really?
Yeah. I could have named 2 or 3, and Ringo would have been one. Keith Moon would have been another.
Favorite film of all time?
The Alamo.
Favorite late night snack? You're sitting there in your pajamas or shorts or letting go of somebody's leg. You're having a snack. What is it?
It would be Vacherin cheese, which is mountain cheese, with some biscuits.
Okay.
Vache for like cow, but it's really lethal because once you start it, you can't stop it.
All right. And finally, if you were trapped in a foxhole, who would you want in there with you to help you get out?
Jessica Lange.
I said to get out.
To move into more spacious accommodation.
We're going to finish things up with Phil Collins when we return on Center Stage. Hey! This is Center Stage. You're talking with the great Phil Collins. Now, Phil, every time I see your name, not every time, but sometimes I see your name, I see the initials LOV following your name. What does that mean?
Yeah, LVO actually is.
LVO?
Yeah.
I'm dyslexic.
It's the Lieutenant of the Victorian Order, which is something that you get. I think the LVO is more for charity work, and it was given to me by Prince Charles. I did about 20 years worth of work with the Prince's Trust, which is working to employ the unemployable, you know, to give people, the kids, the young kids, give them their moral esteem, a bit self-esteem, and to apply for jobs and things like this. They don't, you know, they lose confidence in themselves. So the idea is that the trust helps them build that confidence back up and take them off the road of petty criminal.
Now, I would think the LVO means you don't have to wait for a table at a restaurant, right? In England?
No, because nobody knows what it means.
Now they do.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, we kid, but you've done a lot of charitable work in your career, and you're a member of PETA, or you support PETA's efforts. Yeah. Are you proud of the music industry, what it does for charity, and what it can do, the reach that it can have? I mean, we talked a little bit about it earlier.
Well, I think what music has become now, you know, and you've got classic examples like Bono and Geldof and people like that, that you can, because of the celebrity, which is, you know, celebrity is something that can be very distasteful. Everybody's a celebrity almost nowadays, and I find that really weird, you know. But I think using celebrity to its advantage, you know, you can embarrass governments. You can make a fuss about something where the journalist can then go and ask and embarrass the person that, you know, and try and get results.
Like Katrina and Haiti, we're doing that with that.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a fascination with history, specifically the Alamo.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it captured my imagination when I was 4 years old, with Fess Parker. I just watched it and I became in awe and in love with Davy Crockett. And the Alamo, of course, was where he died, and that whole story in a big general nutshell is people standing there and knowing they're going to die, but they're doing it because they think it's right. Now, the Alamo is a far more complicated story than that. About 25 years ago, I was in Washington, and there was a shop called Gallery of History where you could go and buy autographed documents, you know, and I saw a Davy Crockett letter. And the whole idea of something like that still being around opened up this little door in my mind that sort of said, well, let's go looking for what else is around. And I started collecting documents, and now I've got one of the biggest private collections: cannonballs, rifles, swords, musket balls. I got a huge collection, which I'm very proud of.
All right, finally, Phil, you know, we asked you about the definitive Genesis song. What song of yours best epitomizes you?
Well, I think the song that I have managed to maintain a love relationship with is "Take Me Home." We play it at every show. It's always the last song on the show, and therefore it's very nostalgic. You know, I mean, I barely made it through it on some of the farewell tour. You know, when you actually sort of thank everybody for the support over 30 years plus. You know, and we sing the song. It's an uplifting anthem, really.
You realize you've had a really cool life, right?
I do actually. I mean, and it's funny because doing something like an album like this and talking about it, you realise, like you said at the beginning, when it's all stacked up, there's a lot of stuff, you know, and I shouldn't diss it.
Not at all.
I should be proud of it, and I'm getting used to getting proud of it. I'm getting used to it.
It's called Going Back. It's excellent. All the Motown songs which you grew up with. We thank you so much for coming. Really,
Thank you
it was
very
an honor
much.
to have you here. That's Phil Collins. I'm Michael Kay, and this is Center Stage. So long, everybody.